guys, it's your Uncle Splorin Ryan coming to you from Woodlawn Memorial Park here in Gotha, Florida. Beautiful area. It's just a little bit northwest of downtown Orlando. Absolutely beautiful area. There's lakes, there's rolling hills, which we don't get a whole lot of here in Orlando, but here in this particular area, there's also a lot of history and a lot of beauty. This is Woodlawn Memorial Park. Join us today as we do just a little exploring. And when you first come into Woodlawn, you come in through the gates that are straight ahead in the distance. And you come in this main road, and you're going to see right over here the largest structure in the entire cemetery. And with this tower, it's kind of hard to miss it. Moving to the back end of that structure that I pointed out just a moment ago, as you can see, it's a very large, sprawling structure, and they've done a great job of putting a little bit of a memorial garden back here. Absolutely beautiful. Different types of stone, different types of vegetation, and of course different types of interments, going from those who have been cremated to those who have been placed in the crypts, and even more traditional burials in the ground. Looking down here, again, still in the same general area, though in the valley area, a beautiful fountain, a lot of places to sit and kind of, think back on things and philosophize, if you will. But a beautiful obelisk. You can see generally a lot more of the memorial gardens that are placed there. We've now reached the back side of the memorial garden. You can see the fountain in the distance, all the beautiful flowers people are still laying. It's very peaceful, very serene, and absolutely gorgeous back there. Now this is an active cemetery. There are still burials going on, and in fact there's a funeral home at the front of the cemetery that is unfortunately having a funeral today. I did want to show this. This is right when you get in to the main road of the cemetery. This is the Police and Firefighters Memorial. The oldest memorial on this particular piece goes back to 1941. The most recent, unfortunately, is as recent as 2017. So plenty of room still on the back for more fallen officers, fallen firefighters. I'm obviously hoping it takes a long time to fill this up. And it features just amazing artwork. And the Police and Firefighters Memorial is literally just across this small path. It's almost a bit eerie. It's a very windy day here in Gotha, Florida, and a lot of the internments here, like I said, this is still an active cemetery, so a lot of these people still have relatives that are leaving mementos on their headstones and their crypts. There's a lot of bells and chimes that have been placed, and because it's so windy, you hear music just playing in the background. It took a couple of seconds to figure out what it was, but it definitely adds to the atmosphere of everything. I was looking across the plain here at some of the statues when I noticed something. Let's see if you see it jump out at you. Look at this. It's a beautiful eagle, at least I believe it's an eagle from the shape of the beak and everything, carved into that tree. Right alongside this other, I believe, oak tree just covered in Spanish moss. Now, unfortunately, it looks like it's starting to be overtaken by moss and probably termites from the look of things. So, hopefully this will not disappear in the next few years. I just found this. This is kind of interesting. This is a statue of Moses with the Ten Commandments. Placed all around the statue, as you can see right here on these rocks, are the actual Ten Commandments. Right here is man shall not covet, for instance. Out here closest to the road is thou shalt not kill, which seems somewhat apropos. This is, as you can see, behind Moses, near the large structure with the memorial gardens and the crypts, on this main back road. And this is all placed right out here amongst a section of the cemetery. I mean, you can see that there's plenty of burials out here. These are still active areas. I doubt that famous would be the right word to use, but for lack of a better word, this is probably the most famous landmark in Woodlawn. There's not a whole lot of statues in Orlando cemeteries. It's not like when you go up north and there's a lot of marble. So to see this kind of thing here in Orlando is rare and honestly breathtaking. Obviously, some wounds are still very fresh. Perhaps the most famous burial in Woodlawn is over here, just below all this Spanish moss, hanging off of, again, what I may have incorrectly called an oak tree. This is the tombstone of Mr. Bob Ross. As you can see, there's quite a bit of artwork and trinkets and rings and all assortment of things left for him. More beautiful statues, this time Jesus, of course. A few more mementos and offerings have been laid at his feet on this statue. Crossing to the next section, we find this rather large bell. References the Providence of Pennsylvania. One would perhaps think they're alluding to the Liberty Bell, although minus the crack. Certainly seems to be about the right size, however. Getting a little closer, there's actually a rope on this bell. It looks like you could ring it, though we're, for obvious reasons, not going to. Another notable burial here, Tim Cruz. Tim Cruz was a major league pitcher with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was actually a World Series winner, and he came to Cleveland in the 90s, and being from Cleveland, we were all so impressed that we'd gotten Tim Cruz. It's just a huge deal. But unfortunately, in 1993, during the offseason, he and two other players were in a horrific boating accident here in Claremont, Florida, where he and one other player died, and the third player was nearly killed as well. One last piece while we're here, which is the grave of David Peverett and his wife Linda from the band Foghat. Lonesome Dave is probably most well known for his work in Foghat, where he did guitar and lead vocals for such classics as I Just Want to Make Love to You and Slow Ride. Definitely a very notable section of the cemetery. One of the more ornate memorials I've seen here in Florida. Again, looking out over the lake. Turkey continues moving along. And gone. Just down the path, look at this incredible statue right here. These praying hands in marble, granite. Traveling just a little further in, some more beautiful artwork. Looks like it's got some damage done to it, but absolutely stunning nonetheless. And just behind it, it drops down into another memorial garden. Getting a closer look at the gardens that we just saw a moment ago. And just one more section of the cemetery that I want to point out before we head out. And just one more portion of the cemetery that I wanted to point out before we leave, because the artwork on this is just absolutely stunning. Just the scope and the scale alone, incredible. It's an area of crypts, of course, and another memorial garden, but look at the painting and the mural that is on the front of this. I think that's going to wrap it up from Woodlawn Memorial Park here in Gotha, Florida, which is a little bit northwest of Orlando, as I said. You could probably, if you were downtown, you could be here in maybe 10 minutes. Beautiful area. Check it out. If you haven't already done so, reach down below, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next time when we do just a little Splorin.